So many of you know that I run the private equity fund that does about $100 million in sales a year of distressed debt. REOs, one of the reasons I came up with my real estate program about, teaching other people how to do it because it's easy. Quite frankly, you want to beat the globalist, become an entrepreneur. I'll get to that point later on. But I did an interview with Greg Hunter a few days ago now, and it's all over the web. You can find it at usawatchdog.com. And I revealed some information there that I think is pretty critical. I'm sharing it here for the first time. So I deal a lot with some pretty big financial players, people that own hedge funds that basically buy hundreds of homes at a time, buy billions of dollars in real estate a year. Their clients are some of the wealthiest people in the world, and their contacts are people that are at some of the biggest non-real estate related hedge funds in the world. People like, one guy, for example, was in closed door meetings with Hank Paulson when Hank Paulson brought in all these hedge fund managers and was like, hey guys, Fannie Mae is going to collapse in a few weeks, hedge your bets, make some money, early Christmas present for you. And now that's been revealed, it's totally on record. I never talked about this before. I've always given the information. I'm going to cover right now the Chinese gold-backed currency, what the petrodollar is dealing with Syria, in Russia and China, what they play in all of this, and then here in a second. But I'll tell you, I've always talked about these things. I've been telling you now for well over a year that the Chinese are going to roll out with the gold-backed currency to challenge the US dollar. In fact, the Chinese media and the Russian media is openly marketing this. They're talking about it. They're having that public discourse right now about this. And of course, the US never reports on this, or US media, not even Western media reports on this. It's only alternative media. When I say that, people are like, oh, you're crazy. That's a conspiracy theory. I'm like, well, no, I'm getting that info not just from business partners that I have in China or other contacts that I have in China, but literally from huge multi-billion-dollar hedge funds that hear the same stuff. They have operations in China and in Russia. They know what's going on. So I never wanted to be the Lindsey Williams kind of guy, and Lindsey Williams, I consider him a friend. I could pick up the phone right now. I could call him, because that was his shtick. And, some of his information's proven correct, other information hasn't, and the truth is that things change. And so maybe, his contact thinks that this is going to happen, but then something happens and it completely ends up with something different. But I didn't want to be that guy, but, I just felt that I had to share that, look, two of these major hedge fund managers that I deal with on a weekly basis have recently, I say recently, really in the last 6 to 12 months, left the U.S. They still have property here. They still have their companies here. They're going to keep investing here. In fact, they still think it's going to be opportunity for them to make money, but they want to be under the radar because they think this government's going to get more and more tyrannical. It's going to go after some of these bigger producers, guys like me that do small amount of business, considering the big scheme of things. I'll fly under the radar. The average mom and pop investor can fly under the radar. But they're all saying the U.S. government wants to control the housing market, and the Fed will not stop. And I'm in closed-door meetings with Fed officials. When I go to these conferences, there's people from the Fed that come there, these investment conferences, and they give presentations. And the people that I deal with are even dealing with upper-level people at the Fed. I'm just dealing with their economists. I'm talking people that are decision makers, even some of the people that sit on the Federal Reserve board. And they're all saying the same thing. Look, we're not going to stop printing money until asset prices recover. In the midst, they're going to create a complete inflation catastrophe, and you're seeing that already. And you're seeing that coupled with the event of a major war on the horizon. It's why silver was up 25% in August. It's why real estate prices are up over 13% year after year. It's why gold was up $40 today. These guys are leaving because they feel that the social panic, social unrest here in this country could get pretty nasty. And the environment for these companies to do business could get pretty nasty, considering this government will go after the producers and really, in many cases, blame them again for any kind of economic fallout. If the Chinese do roll out with the new gold-backed currency, which I believe they will, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. At least that's not what I'm hearing, nor what my research tells me. You think the U.S. is going to take that in stride and be like, hey, yeah, we knew it coming. We warned the people that this might happen. This is what it's going to affect your life. No, they didn't. Instead, they'll blame, people that have a company, people that are business owners, people in the, and that's not to say, because we all know, the criminal banking cartels that are in cahoot with the Fed, they orchestrate all this stuff. And they're orchestrating these events in Syria right now. And make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is a proxy war with the Russians and the Chinese over the role of the gold-backed currency over the role of the world reserve currency. It's why Russia is sending 2 more warships today, packed with Marines. The Chinese, I suspect, and basically what I'm hearing is that they're threatening the U.S. with some kind of economic sanction over immediate action. And what's interestingly enough, today you have the Israelis firing off missiles in the Middle East, the U.S. firing off missiles then in the Middle East, the Mediterranean. It is a powder keg ready to explode. Just like it was with the Archduke Ferdinand moment that started World War I. That didn't start World War I. All the alliances and everything was being built before that. That's already been being built. I've been talking about new alliances for years now. I've been talking about the Chinese bilateral trade agreements for years now. And it's all leading up to a powder keg moment. And the Mediterranean right now, great place to vacation. I love it. Love the, French Riviera, the Italian Riviera. I've been there many times. I love it. Wouldn't want to be there now, though, because it is loaded with militarism, U.S. warships, Russian warships, Israeli warships, French, English warships. It is a powder keg ready to explode. A powder keg that, if explodes, will lead to, in my opinion, a set of events that will bring upon this new global economic reset that will be the dollar losing its world reserve currency. That's how the Chinese fight back. The Chinese will not be fighting back with tanks, bullets, and guns. They'll be fighting back the same way the U.S. fought back with any type of imperialism that they were getting from the British prior to World War II. They did it because they were the largest creditor and England was the largest debtor nation, and so they could bully them around that way. Okay? The worst thing that these globalists and these elites fear is a mass uprising by the American people. It's something China has to deal with all the time. The way that they would have that happen here is by having prices explode because the dollar uses its world reserve currency. It's a pretty compelling bully pulpit for the Chinese. The Russians are in bed with the Chinese, and they've already said that they're already, not only are they already marketing a new world reserve currency or talking about it openly in their media, like I said, but they are openly saying, that they'll cut off natural gas to Europe, or that I suspect their oil will only be traded by the new Chinese currency. So, look, the CIA is training rebels. They've released shows rebels now in Syria. All these times are, quite frankly, one of the most dangerous times for a false flag event. False flag event like we just saw happen in Syria. False flag event like we saw happen with the Boston bombing. And by false flag, let me just say, I don't mean that the local police and everybody else is in on it. What I mean is that governments allow this to happen. Or they just stage it with their propaganda events. In some cases, they do move it forward and they do it. In other cases, just allow it to happen. Every major hedge fund guy that I have sat with and talked about, I somehow always bring up, planned orchestrated events. Without exception, almost every single one always acknowledges that they happen. And they happen in the economy, they happen with everything. What's going to be the next false flag attack? I believe it's going to be some kind of cyber attack. Janet Napolitano, when she left, basically was saying, yeah, we're going to have a cyber attack. And already they're blaming Syria for a cyber attack against some of the U.S. allies, some other Western allies. They blame the North Koreans all the time for cyber attacks. So the point is this, ladies and gentlemen. Again, 2 of my major contacts have recently left the country. Again, 6 to 12 months have left. One's in Central America, the other one's in Asia. And they believe that we are on the verge of a cataclysmic change in the economy. And a change that'll be remembered in history for hundreds of years to come. And that will be the dollar losing its status as the world reserve currency. And this event in Syria is all about that and is totally about how the U.S. and its allies are fighting a proxy war with the Chinese and the Russians. I'm Fabian for Liberty. Check out FabianForLiberty.com. If you want to learn more about real estate investing, you could opt in for free, get free training stuff. If you want to buy the course, more power to you. ResourcefulRealEstateAcademy.com. Great information that you can get for free. Also, I have a YouTube channel where I give out info as well. I don't care what you do, quite frankly, but please consider becoming an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs will be the only ones that will be able to survive what's coming ahead. Thanks for watching. I'm out.